Shalom, this is the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge out of Atlanta under Commander General Yohana. You understand this is the Isupk Atlanta Tuesday Brotherhood class. We just got done celebrating the opening of the Feast of the Feast of Tabernacles? Right, we just got done opening the Feast of Tabernacles. As y'all know, Sunday we'll have the closing of the closing of the Feast of Tabernacles is Sunday. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna take this phone call. Shalom, Lord Christ. Shalom, Lord Christ. Oh yeah, ain't no sweat. Ain't no sweat. Oh, Shalom, Lord Christ. Right, so Sunday we're gonna have the closing of the Feast of the Tabernacles. We're gonna have that on Sunday. Before we start class, anybody got any questions? Give me some time to share it online. Shalom, Lord Christ. Somebody just called in. You said Kevian? Or somebody else just called in?
Shalom, young man from Greensboro.
Kevin and young man Jamal? Alright. Yeah, so you know what I mean, we just got done. We did it nice up in there. You know what I mean? It was at the Feast of Tabernacles opening. We had a closing. Before we get started with class though, anybody online or in the class got a question? Okay, yeah, I got y'all too now. Y'all doing Tawah, sis?
We're doing Tawah. Yes, sir.
Alright, Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. Alright, if nobody got any questions, we're gonna start on today's class, which is we said we was gonna leave off at Genesis, right? The Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Yeah, give me Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Give me 1 second. Give me Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Alright, we're gonna start off at Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Shalom, Lord Christ. Somebody else just called in? Alright, no sweat. Yeah, give me Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Hold on. You're gonna speak on this right here. Just have this right here. And speak it. Don't hold it, just speak into that. Alright, go ahead, read it when you got it. Yeah, read verse 1. Genesis, the 3rd chapter, verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Right, stop right there. It said, now the serpent was more, and we got Napas Kaya right now. He reading for us. He in the class, so we got him reading for us. But he said, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. Anybody know what that serpent was? Because a lot of people, the reason why I wanted to continue on this is because in the Christianity church, they believe that the serpent was a talking snake, right? Like they think that the serpent was an actual snake. You know what I mean? Like they don't know that it was actually talking about a person. You know what I mean? The snake in the garden, that serpent in the garden is talking about a person, man. It's not talking about an actual literal snake. But in the Christian church, when they read the Bible, or even if you're not a Christian, you know what I mean? When you read the Bible, you got in your mind that it's a talking snake. Y'all listen to your scripture. You understand? So anybody know what that snake is actually talking about in that garden?
Block you, sir.
Go ahead.
The snake would be the oppressor.
Right, you understand? The snake will be the oppressor. You got a scripture?
Well, sir, I'm on my slavery driving.
All right, no sweat. Just like he said, that's
yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The preset that you're looking for is it going to the most subtle beast of the field?
Well, that's what we're reading at right now. We're reading that in Genesis the 3 and 1, where it says the most subtle beast of the field right now. You understand? But the reason, one of the ways you know you can precept this too, because say if this was a talking snake. Shalom Christ, somebody just called in.
Long Little Christ, Joseph Battle.
Joseph, how you doing, Tawar, man?
Not too wild, sir.
All right, Most High in Christ. Hey, give me Revelations, the 12th chapter, verse 9. If this was talking about a talking snake, then why in Revelations 12 and 9 do it explain this snake in a different context, in a different sense? You understand? And when I bring out this verse, I want you to show me any snake on the earth that this has happened to. You understand? You got that 12 and 9, Revelations 12 and 9?
Come on.
You go ahead and read it when you got it.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil.
Right, read that from the top again.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan.
Right, you understand me? He said the old serpent was cast out. That was called, he said the devil was cast out and was called the old serpent, right? You understand? Read that one more time from the top.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent.
Right, that old serpent in the Bible was talking about the serpent in the garden. But now it's explaining him as a dragon. You understand? It says the dragon was cast out, the old serpent. So if the serpent in the garden was talking about an actual snake, then what snake was a snake at one time and then became a dragon? Or for any matter, can we even see a dragon in the earth? You know what I mean? Like, what snake has graduated to a dragon? You know what I mean? Like, if you have the mindset of thinking that the snake in the garden was an actual literal talking snake, first of all, why don't we see any more talking snakes now? You understand? And then even going farther into it, why is it explaining it as being a dragon? You understand? Anybody want to take a shot? Or why is this saying right now the old serpent, which is now a dragon in Revelations? Why is it describing that serpent as a dragon now in Revelations? Go ahead.
So the person had ruling power.
You said what?
Oh yeah, because the so-called person had ruling power.
He said because of growing power. That's on to it. Somebody said Salaki online.
Come on, sir. I was about to say the same thing.
Right. You understand?
That's
Because
what I get, sir.
go ahead, Kevin.
Is it because everything that came out of his mouth was like distress?
Right, you understand? Meaning that y'all both are right, but the main point is the reason why it was a snake before and now it's a dragon is because it grew. You understand? His power had grew. His might had grew. You understand? Like at one point, the so-called oppressor, the Edomites, according to the Bible, they wasn't the strongest people. They wasn't the strongest nation. But now in modern time, the world we live in now, the Edomites is the strongest nation in earth. That's why it explains them as a dragon. And then going into what Kevian said, is explaining him off of a dragon by his military power. You understand? Like, what does a dragon do? When you think of a dragon, what does a dragon do? Anybody? That's a question. Go ahead.
Blow fire from the sky.
Right, it blows fire from the sky, right? That's what dragons do. They breathe down fire. Well, when you go to war with Esau and his military, what does Esau do? Drop bombs on you from the sky, right? You understand? He don't put too much funds into infantry. You know what I mean? Esau, he don't really give a damn about the infantry soldiers. You know what I mean? That's why if you know anything about warfare, they getting their ass kicked overseas because they got M4s, which is jamming on them. They getting them dirty. They not working, and they not pulling them. They not shooting right. And they going to fight overseas in the Middle East, the other Middle Easterns, and they got AKs, man. They shooting at them with guns that don't jam, that's not locking up on them. You know what I mean? No matter how dirty you get them, and they shooting bigger bullets. You understand? But that's because Esau don't care about that. His mindset is to just send over fighter jets, you know what I mean, drones, all types of things like that to bomb you. That's the way Esau fights his military. So that's why it explains him as a dragon. You understand? But read that verse again, Revelations 12 and 9.
Con. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan, which deceived the whole world, which he cast out onto the earth.
Right, you understand? That old serpent called the Satan. You understand? The reason why I call the so-called oppressor Satan is because Just like how Satan is in the world, Satan is evil. You know what I mean? He's created for that purpose. He serves the Lord, but the oppressor is not created for that reason, man. You know what I mean? Like the oppressor wasn't made to deceive the whole earth and be Satan in the earth. That's his own spirit. That's what he chose to do. So that's why it relates him to being Satan. You understand? Keep reading on that.
And his angels was cast out with him.
Right, you understand? His angels is all the nations, all the people that join hands with the so-called Esau military power, Esau's rulership. Those are all the ones that come up against us with Esau, man. You understand? All the other nations come to America, and they automatically just become better than us. You know what I mean? They get loans to be able to put in businesses in our neighborhoods and all types of stuff like that. You understand? So that's what that's talking about.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. You said something?
Yeah, kind of, sir. With the dragon and the eagle, you know how Esau also described as the eagle and as the eagle, like
Right.
by him being described as the eagle, and you know how they portray a dragon to be some kind of whatever, you know what I'm saying, portrayed as something that fly in the sky, and both of them also being like the most destructible animal of the sky. Is that like a good way, you know what I'm saying, to bring out that could you like use that example with both of them, like to show that you know what I'm saying, that's talking about Esau?
All right. Say that one more time for me. You said they both are. So you know how it explains Esau as being a dragon, and it also explains him being an eagle. You understand?
Right, and both of them like you know, the most destructive in the sky. You get what I'm saying? So is that something like you can use like as another kind of way, like example to show like, hey, look, this talking about the Edomites.
I mean, it depends on what type of context you're using in, because they don't necessarily relate to another. What reason why I say that is because when it says a dragon and the eagle, it has nothing to do with the fact that, you know what I mean, they fly over the sky. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, the dragon, they relate him to being a dragon because of how he dropped bombs, how he breathes fire over everything. But the eagle, it relates him to being eagle of how, you know, the eagle, when the eagle's in the sky, it's like a predator. You understand? It swoops down on his prey, it scoops them up, and it like hunts them living up, you know what I mean, all in the sky, and then it swoops down on them and eat them, or, you know what I mean, pick them off. So, I mean, it's two different things, you know what I mean, but you won't necessarily want to use it as because they fly in the sky, you know, Esau fly in the sky. You know what I mean? It depends on how you break it down or how you use it. You know what I mean? Right, but you know what I'm saying? It says that he was that old serpent that was cast down, which is a dragon. Now, give me back to Genesis, the third chapter. This is how you know it's talking about a man. It's not talking about an actual snake. Because how can a snake grow into a dragon? You understand? But if you use a metaphor, and that's a one thing you got to know about the Bible, too. Just like the general said, the Bible is written in metaphors because that's how we have a better understanding on things. Like when you break things down, and you explain it to them in a certain way, which is by using a metaphor, we understand that metaphor better. You know what I mean? That's why you got to understand the metaphors that it's talking about. You know what I mean? It's just like somebody describing something to you on a daily basis, but then they use terms or things that you're familiar with. And it gives you a better understanding of what's being said. So give me back to Genesis chapter 1. Read that from the top again. Chapter 3, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made.
Stop right there. This is another reason of why you know that it's talking about the serpent being a person. It says was more subtle than any beast of the field. Anybody knows what it means about what it means when it says that? Like, what does it mean when it say that he was the most subtle beast of the field? Because somebody would think of beasts as being animals. You understand? But how we know that this is not an animal? Anybody got a precept for it? If you got an answer.
It's like,
Go ahead.
you're talking about a precept to the beast of the fields.
Mm-hmm.
So you use Jeremiah 12:9.
Give me Jeremiah 12:9. You understand? Because that's another key word that you got to realize when it's talking about being the most subtle beast of the field, when it's talking about the serpent. You understand? Because like I said, if you're a Christian and you're reading this, you see beasts of the field, you think that's talking about, you automatically think that's talking about animals. You understand? You see beasts, you automatically think about animals, but people can be described as beasts too. You just got to know the context. You understand? You got that Jeremiah 12 and 9?
Come. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 9. My inheritance is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds around about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
Right, you understand? Meaning when it's talking about that speckled bird, who is it talking about when it says the speckled bird?
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Israel.
Right, you understand? It's talking about, when it says the speckled bird, it's talking about Israel, his people. You understand? The reason why it relates us to a speckled bird is meaning we come in all shapes and sizes and colors. You understand? Like a speckled bird has many colors, Israel has many shades of colors. So that's for people who thinking that, you know what I mean, Israelites is only black or Israelites is only, you know what I mean, brown or, you know, I guess you could say brown. You understand? That's why I say it's a speckled bird. Keep reading from where it says speckled bird.
Come. The birds around about are against her.
The birds around about are against. Who's those birds that's around about the speckled bird? Go ahead.
So like a group of oppressors. They're coming to oppress.
Make it easier.
It pretty much said like a white man come to the land and destroy everything, rape, rob, murder.
Yeah, it's just talking about the other nations. You understand? It's just talking about all the other nations. Keep going.
Okay. Come ye assemble all the beasts of the field.
Right now, is this talking about actual animals? It just related the birds to being nations. So now when it says, come ye all the beasts of the field, it's still talking about nations, man. It's not talking about no animals. You understand? It's not talking about no animals when it says the beasts of the field. You got to know the context. Anybody got another precept? Well, another precept. Give me Ezekiel 34 and 8. Like when you see of the field, that's a key word to know. When it says of the field, that's a key word to know. First of all, it's talking about on earth. But of the field, that's what the key word to know that it's talking about nations, man. You understand? That's actually talking about people and not actual animals. You understand? Give me Ezekiel 34 and 8 when you got it.
Come. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 8. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field.
Right, you understand? Right, it says, as I live, keep going. Read from the top again.
Come. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey.
Right, his flock became a prey. You understand? You know how the Lord's flock become a prey? Like even how the Lord, that's why you got to know when it's talking about beasts, it's not always talking about animals, because multiple times throughout the Bible, all throughout the Bible, he relates nations to being animals. One instance is how he calls Israel his sheep, his flock. Are we really sheep?
No.
Is when we speak we say bah, we sheep? No, you understand? We are people, but he's relating his people to being sheep. You understand? His flock. You understand? But it says his flock is given to be prey. How is his flock given to be prey? What does sheep need?
They need a shepherd.
Salakia, sir.
Right, it needs you say it's a lot, but yeah, he's right. His brother answered already in the class. It needs a shepherd, man. You understand? You need a shepherd to protect the sheep. You understand? But when we don't, and who's the shepherd supposed to be? That's supposed to be the so-called black or the religious leaders. You know what I mean? Al Sharpton, those are the ones that's supposed to be the shepherd. But when the shepherd don't give a damn about the sheep, then that's when the sheep is, you know what I mean? That's when the wolf can come in. And it's just like even you gotta even think about it. You can even think about it in animal terms. You have a shepherd that's to protect the sheep. If the shepherd is not there, then what? The wolves come and eat the sheep, right? You know what I mean? And it explains the wolves as being the other nations. And that's how you got to know the metaphor of what it's talking about. Because then, like I said, if somebody automatically sees subtitles a serpent and they think that it's talking about a snake, then why when they see shepherd or sheep, they don't think it's talking about sheep? Or when it says come as a sheep in wolf's clothing, why don't think that's talking about a sheep that's actually looking like a wolf? You know what I mean? Why I don't think that those instances is actually talking about animals, but when it says serpent, it's actually talking about, you know what I mean, a serpent. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta know the context of what the Bible is talking about. Read that from the top again.
Con. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field.
Right, his flock became meat to every beast of the field, man. Is that talking about beasts? That talking about like animals? Right, it's not talking about animals. It's talking about all the other nations, man. Just like today. You know what I mean? Today we are you know what I mean, all the beasts of the field, all the other nations come to devour Israel even today, man. As we speak. There's no nation that's for us. There's no nation that's rooting on us, trying to help us out. There's no nation that actually, you know what I mean, care about us. You understand? All the nations is against us. Yeah, they fight amongst each other, but they know that, you know what I mean, their main enemy is us. You understand? Esau knows that. Esau go over war on all types of war, on all types of places, all types of different parts of the country, but he know his main enemy that he really focused on is here at home, man. You understand? That's why just recently the cop, another cop in Dallas or Texas, I know it's at Fort Worth. I don't know if that's in Dallas, but another cop in Dallas shoot a black person in their house, man. You understand? Now it's getting to the point to where you can't be safe in your own house. That's all the beasts of the field coming to devour us, man. Keep reading. Is that it on that?
No.
Keep going.
Because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock.
Right, because there was no shepherd, man. You understand? Because there was no leader over the black people to tell them not to be joined hands with the other enemies, man. Just like today, there's no leader. You know what I mean? We got the Isupk, but you know what I mean. The ones that's supposed to be that has a prominent reputation. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. You know what I mean? T.D. Jakes. They're not warning the people. They're not telling the people, man. They don't give a damn. Go ahead.
If I could, though, that's so heavy what you're saying right now, because, like, that's how you know, like, how the Bible say you'll know when a prophet been among you from their work. Like, on the ISUPK, on the Commander General Hunter, from Commander General Hunter all the way down, is the only people that I've heard, you know what I'm saying, even prophesy with the cop thing going on, to the point where it's like, even I heard the prophet say, like, you're going to get to a point where you can't even call the office, like, call the police, you know what I'm saying, but for these fake Christians and all these people that swear that they know God, you always hearing them say join. And every time you join, it's like we steady getting killed. But the only people that's speaking the truth is ISUPK on the Commander General on the Salaki.
And that's damn right. And just like you said, it is going to get a point to where you can't even call the cop, because that's what happened in the recent incident. You know what I mean? The neighbor seen a door. The Commander General Hunter broke it down perfectly on his radio show yesterday. But you know what I mean? The neighbors seen the door open, and the door was open. So, you know what I mean? They thinking maybe they need some help. Maybe something going wrong. Maybe, a break-in or something going on. So he called the cops, or I don't know if it's a he, but they called the cops. You know what I mean? To just get the cop to check on them and make sure they safe. The cop think he playing, you know what I mean, some type of Call of Duty. I don't know what the cop thought. You know what I mean? You a cop. Your first thing is to announce yourself. You know, knock on the door. It's the police department. You know what I mean? But instead of doing that, I guess he thought he was playing Call of Duty or what? Ghost Recon just came out. I guess he thought he was playing Ghost Recon. He creeping around the house. You know what I mean? Creeping around the house, trying to be quiet. I guess he thought he was going to get the jump. You know what I mean? On the so-called criminal that he thought that was in the house. Not even knowing if it was in the house. Go ahead.
I don't think that was even it was another mercy group. It's more like a watchman, you know. It was like another mercy group called. It wasn't actually the police department.
Okay, right. You know what I'm saying? But he creeping around the crib, creeping around the house. He sees somebody in the window, then he shoots. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna get to the point where you can't call the cops because you call the cops, you just causing more of a problem. That's why we teach so much that we need to police our own neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Have some righteous brothers with some judgment and some love and care about the people. You know what I mean? Because if you don't care about the people, then you don't care what's gonna happen to them, and that's your police department, man. That's your neighborhood watch. You understand? That's why we need to have people who actually care to police us. Shalom, Lord Christ. Somebody just called in.
Long, y'all Bashem, y'all Shabbat. It's Trooper Yawaram.
Yeah, Yabashim Shalakia. Yabashim Yashab Brakatah.
Good night.
You doing Tawab, man?
I'm Tawab, I don't want Tawab. You Tawab?
Yeah, I'm Tawab. Yeah, man. For a second, I couldn't say the greeting, man, because I ain't have my hand over my chest. It's like I gotta have my hand on my chest to be able to say it properly. You know what I mean? It's like it goes hand in hand. Even when you're on the phone, you just put your hand up. You always just be in Barak when you say it and stuff. Yeah, man. But we on Genesis right now. What we just left off at was Ezekiel 34 and 8. Right, read that one more time.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 8. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves, and fed not my flock.
Right, you understand? That's your Christian leaders, man. That's your Christian pastors. They feed themselves. They don't care about the flock. You know what I mean? You paying them millions so they can get a jet. You know what I mean? They can send their children to college. You know what I mean? They could buy their wives a Lamborghini. But you know what I mean? You ask for a light bill need to be paid, and they telling you to go pray. You know what I mean? Like they telling you to go pray. They expecting you to give them all the money, but when it comes to you need some help, but when it comes to you need some help, you know what I mean? You gotta pray, or you gotta get another job. They might tell you to just go get another job. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They might just be that bold to tell you to go get a job, but that's them not feeding the flock, man. But that's us being, you know what I'm saying, meat for every beast of the field. The beast of the field is talking about all the nations, man, all the other nations. But now we back to Genesis, getting back to Genesis. Now, but this serpent is the most subtle beast of the field, man.
Hey,
Hey,
like you said, they might tell you go get a job. And now they get mad with Donald Trump, tell them to go get a job.
Right, you understand? You know what I'm saying? They get mad with Donald Trump. That's what I'm saying, man. That's damn right. That's damn right. Somebody else said Salaki online?
Con out of one con. Will Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 20 be another precept for that subtile beast of the field?
Pull it for me. Isaiah, we said 41:20?
43 and 20.
43 and 20. Give me Isaiah 43 and 20. But now when we talk about the serpent, it's the most subtle beast of the field. The word subtle, what does the word subtle mean?
It can, subtle go right along with cunning, right?
Cunning, right? Like a trickster. Like, you understand? Like subtle is like being cunning. Very, very. Go ahead.
And that's how you know. If I may, Esau and the serpent go hand in hand because Esau was a cunning hunter and the serpent was a subtle beast. Both of them were sneaky.
Right, you understand? Just like you said, when it explained Esau, it say Esau is a cunning hunter. You know what I mean? Meaning he find all type of ways to get his hunting done, man. He got the most outrageous methods that nobody would even think about to hunt whatever he's looking for, man. You understand? Just like a snake. You know what I mean? Like for instance, Esau Esau when he go out hunting, you know what I mean, this wasn't a thing. We never did this when we hunted. You know what I mean? When we hunted for food, Native Americans, you can ask them, when they went to hunting buffalo, they never did it. But Esau found it better to, wherever he hunting, to put they piss on him, man. You know what I mean? He'll take they piss and just pour it on his clothes so he can smell like piss. You know what I mean? Like that's a cunning hunter. That's something that I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? It's unsanitary, but that's something that Esau do to make sure he can get his kill or whatever he's after, man. That's being a cunning hunter. You understand? Just like being the most subtle beast of the field. You got that scripture?
Con. The book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 20. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I gave waters in the wilderness and the rivers in the desert to give drink to my people.
No, I think that's actually talking about animals on that one. I don't think that's talking about people. I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't use that precept. I wouldn't use that as a precept. Not that one. I wouldn't use that
It's
one.
like
Go ahead.
when the 4 beasts in Daniel, it'll be a good precept for that the other nations are beasts of the field.
Right. For the 4 beasts in Daniel, when it describes the 4 beasts,
I had it too.
that's a perfect precept to show you that the beasts are nations, because those beasts is not actually talking about beasts. It's talking about people. You understand? But give me back to oh, you got it?
I thought you wanted it. I don't know if you wanted it.
Oh no, it's too wide. It's too wide. But yeah, that would be a perfect precept. The one in Daniel where it explains the 4 beasts that Daniel seen in the vision. You understand? Give me back to Genesis the 3rd chapter.
Oh, God, the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Sloppy.
Ain't no
The
sweat.
book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made.
Right. So now this is talking about the most subtle beast. Now that we done established that the beast of the field, when it says beast of the field, it's talking about nations, man. Now we're talking about the serpent, which is the most subtle beast, man. You know what I mean? The most cunning beast. The most, you know what I mean? The most trickiest hunter. You understand? That's the one that we talking about, man. Keep going.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.
Right. Then it says, ye shall not eat, have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Now, when it's talking about trees in the garden, you know what I mean? When it's talking about these trees, is this talking about actual trees? You know how Christian depicted, I don't know, you know what's crazy? That nowhere in the Bible do you see the word apple, but they just assume that it's an apple tree. You know, because that apple actually comes from Roman mythology. I forget who it's traced after, but the apple and that they put in the that they put as is like it's an apple tree, the one they show that's bitten or whatever, like the forbidden fruit. That's actually the worship of a Roman goddess. Can't remember the name right now, but that's actually worship of a Roman god, Roman goddess. You understand? But nowhere in the Bible does it say. Go ahead.
Is it talking about when it said eat of every tree of the garden? Is it talking about eating taking in the doctrine
Right. That's
of the other people of the other nations?
right. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about taking in other doctrines of the other nations. But what is the tree? Like when you eat it, that's when it's talking about. Like when you eat it, that's you taking it in. But what is the tree? Like the tree itself wouldn't be the doctrines. Eating it will be the doctrines. Go ahead.
Is the tree related talking? Is it speaking about a person?
It's speaking about person, more specifically speaking about nations. You know what I mean? Just like how you have a family tree. You know what I mean? Don't we have family trees that we set up and we tie it down all the way to our great, 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 great grandparents? And you draw all the way down to your children, to their children's children, and what is it called? Family tree, right? That's what it's talking about when it says in the garden. Anybody got a precept? Yeah. Go ahead.
Is it in Ezekiel? I think the 37th chapter, 38, where you speak about the. I'm not sure. I know it's like Ezekiel 37, 38.
Nah, it's in Ezekiel. It's one in Ezekiel, but it ain't the 37th chapter. Somebody else said Salaki? Go ahead. Yeah, you can give me the portion real quick. You said it's who?
Ezekiel 31 and 8.
31 and 8? Yeah, it's a 31. It's the 31st chapter. Start at verse 3 though. Oh, give me 1 second. But yeah, it's in Ezekiel the 31st chapter. We about to pull that right now and get it in Ezekiel 31. That's fine. Give me Ezekiel 31. Pull Ezekiel 31 and go to verse 3. You understand? We about to pull it right now because when it's saying every tree of the garden, you got to know. Like I said, that's another thing that you got to know. You know what I mean? According to the Bible, the context of what it's talking about. You understand? It's not talking about an actual tree. You understand? There's when you get into the midst of the garden, like in the middle of the garden, and the trees on the outside is different things. The trees in the middle of the garden is talking about it's talking about the constellations, which is the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what Adam learned from before it was right, and you can get that in I think Revelation 12. It might be 12. I think it's Revelation 20 actually, 22.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the 12 bearing. I forgot how to say it. They said 12 this and 12 that.
Yeah, it was talking about the 12. Yeah, in the midst of it was 12. Yeah.
I can pull it if you want me to. I don't know.
No, it's the one. No, but when it's talking about that, it's talking about. I think it's Revelations the 22nd chapter, verse 2. But I need you to pull Ezekiel 31st chapter. Give me verse 3.
Con, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar and Lebanon.
Right, it says, behold, but the Assyrian, which we know the Assyrians is a nation of people, man. That's not a tree. There's no tree called a Assyrian. That's a nation of people. You understand? It says the Assyrian was a cedar. Read that from the top again.
Con, behold, the Assyrian was a cedar and Lebanon.
Right, a cedar in Lebanon. What's a cedar? Anybody know what a cedar is? Go ahead.
A tree.
Right, a cedar is a type of tree. There's cedar trees in the earth right now. And it's explaining Assyrian as a cedar in Lebanon, man. Keep going.
With fair branches and with a shadowing shroud.
Right, with fair branches. Now, this tree that we're talking about, which is the Assyrians, have fair branches. What does that mean?
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
That the things, the culture that they put out, the things that they do, it looks good.
You said it looks big?
It feels good to you.
It feels good?
Good. Yeah, it looks and feels good to you, but it's not sound doctrine.
Somebody else want to give it a try? Read that from the top again one more time.
Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon, with fair branches, and with a shadowing shroud.
Right, for fair branches. What does fair branches mean?
Sloppy.
Somebody said, Salah, go ahead.
I mean, you cover a lot of land, cover a lot of different nations, basically like everybody gets miles on the side of the white man.
You said it had you speak up a little bit for me, Warrior?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
It was saying it was a great nation that had we covered many nations in the biggest nation.
You said reaching out. It was a great nation reaching out?
Yeah, like covering many nations, like the biggest nation out of all of them.
Right, you understand? When it say it has fair branches, that means that its branches is long. They reach out. You understand? That's what it's talking about. When it's saying that the branches reach out, meaning his reach, how much, you know what I mean, he covered, how much he was over, how great the nation was, it's showing you how great his nation was. You know what I mean? Like if you see a tree and it has long branches, it covers a lot of area. Meaning it's over a lot of area. That's why I say in a shadowing shroud. You understand? Meaning his shroud is covering a wide area. You know what I mean? Like that's showing how great the nation is. That's what it's talking about when it say it have fair branches. Keep going.
And of a high stature, and his top was among the thick browse.
Right, and high stature with his top among the thick browse. It's showing you how healthy, how great this nation was, how wealthy this nation was. You know what I mean? A tall, great tree. You understand? Keep going.
That was it from verse 3.
Read the next verse.
Verse 4. The waters made him great. The deep set him up high with her rivers running around about his plants.
Right. Now when it say the waters made him great. It was read that from the top again.
Comic-Con, the waters made him great.
Right. It says the waters made him great. What is those waters? What is those waters that's making him great? Like that's why you got it. That's why it's important to know the context of what the Bible is talking about and the metaphors that it's talking about.
Here, sir.
Go ahead.
Is referring to Israel. Is referring to Israel. You know, that the ones that doing the work, building them up.
You on to it. You on to it. You know what I mean? What does it mean when the waters made him great? So now we know the cedar is a nation, right? With thick boughs, you know what I mean. It got fair branches. It's a great tree. So think of the metaphor. Water helps a tree grow. Well, what helps a nation grow?
Like it, sir.
Go ahead.
Is that referring to his doctrine, like his custom?
Not quite. What makes a tree grow? Like water makes a tree grow. So what makes a nation grow? What's making the so-called oppressor grow in this nation today?
Like it, sir.
Go ahead.
Knowledge.
So you based off of the oppressor having a lot of knowledge, that's the reason why he. So you saying the white man? So you saying the white man is smarter than us because he got more knowledge? That's why he's greater.
Lie, sir. I was referring about him keeping our knowledge away from us. You know, getting so much of it and using it against that. I was thinking, well, knowledge would make the nation of Israel grow, that we would accept it.
You thinking a little bit too deep. It's more simpler than that.
Slocky.
Go ahead.
Is it money?
How you get money? What's the word for money? If you were to take a class, what is the word for the class? What is the word for? I'm just giving it away for time's sake. It's his economy. You understand? That's all his economy that he set up that's making him grow. All the money, all the stuff, all the economics that he's running, that's the waters that's coming in. It's just like
I don't know if could he use resources.
Resources, right? His resources. That would be exactly a good way to use it too. His resources that's coming in. You know what I mean? It's just like America. The way America grow is, just like the brother said, it's, you know what I mean? It's Israelites, it's Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans that's doing the work that's helping it grow. That's true. But it's more the economics. It's the business that he set up, the stuff that he set up that's helping him grow. And the resources that he has is what's helping him helping him grow. Those are the waters, man. You understand? His tax money, all that type of stuff. That's the waters that's coming in. Give me back to that and read it. Keep going.
And sent out her little rivers onto.
No, you go read the deep. Or say the deep.
Oh, okay. Hold on. The deep set him up on high with her rivers running around about his plant.
Right, you understand? That deep is the same thing that economics. It was so deep. He got so many economics. He got so many resources coming in. It's making this tree grow. You understand? It's raising this tree up to be a greater nation. Just like how the Esau today, they're based off of the economics. You know what I mean? The economics that he runs in America is what made America the so-called greatest nation. You know what I mean? The greatest country. You know what I mean? It's all the resources and economics that America has. It's not that, you know what I mean, they have any knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not that, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing to do with anything. That's just a simple fact that what does America do to grow? They go overseas and take other people. Go ahead.
Oh, this is what I was going to say. They steal the resources from the earth.
Right. They go overseas and take other people's resources. You know what I mean? Go overseas and try to monopolize and steal other people's resources. You know what I mean? Keeping oil at a petrodollar. You know what I mean? Those are ways that they keep their economics growing, their nation growing great.
Hey, it's a lot here, sir.
Go ahead.
That's a heavy point, you know what I'm saying, that you bringing out too, because like even with them doing that, they still be the most subtle beast cunning to get it, because they always make it look like it's like how they a war on terror or you know what I'm saying, a war on nuclear, whatever the war was, but it's just with all to go over there and steal people all, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, they make,
Like,
right. They gotta make a little thing that shows how subtle it is. They know how to go to war. You know what I mean? They know the basics on war. You know what I mean? First thing about war, you gotta get the people in your nation on board. You know what I mean? They gotta be going for the war. They can't be against it. You understand? That's like basics of the war. That's why they do, like you said, some type of event to make it seem like they're going over there to stop terror or going over there to stop some what's ISIS and stuff that called some terrorist group. You know what I mean? They make it seem like that's what they're doing, but really it's to get the resources, man. You know what I'm saying? Get those resources coming in so they can grow as a nation. It's the same thing with this Assyrian nation right here. What it's talking about in this this cedar tree. It's all the economics, all the resources that's coming in that's setting him high and making him great. Keep reading that.
Okay. With the rivers running around about his plants, and sent out her little rivers onto all the trees of the field.
Right, there you go. You hear that word of the field. Now is this talking about just trees? What is the of the field? What does the trees of the field remind you of?
Yeah, is the nations covering land?
Not more. Well, that's true, but what did we hear that phrase from? Like trees of the field. What's that similar to that we just read? Beast of the field, right? Now you got the beast of the field. You got the trees of the field. Of the field is talking about the earth. That's a key word to knowing. And when it says of the field, it's talking about nations, man. Nations on the earth. You understand? But it says it sent out our rivers to until the other trees of the field. That's talking about this nation being so great that's how the other nations, you know what I mean, prosper by being under this nation. You know what I mean? It's sending their rivers off. It's sending their economics off of them so they can have something. So in order for you to have something, you got to be under this nation. You know what I mean? Just like in America today, for a lot of these countries to be able to benefit and be at the standpoint that they had, at some point in time they had to make agreements, deals with America so America can send their waters over to that nation and make that nation great. You understand? It's just talking about the same thing that goes on today. It's talking about how economics run. You understand? A lot of people made agreements and joined hand in hand. Even the Middle Eastern countries, you'll find out that they made agreements with America so they can benefit financially. So they can take part in some of America's growth, some of America's money and all the economics that they have. You understand? But this is what it's explaining this nation the same way. Keep going. Verse 5.
Okay, verse 5. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field.
Right, he was the greatest nation. His height was exalted above all the other trees. It's not talking about a tree, man. You understand? This is talking about nations. It's saying this nation was exalted above all the other nations because he was so great. You know what I mean? His economics, the resources, the funds, the money that he had was greater than all the other ones. You understand? Keep going.
And his brooks were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he set forth. When he shot forth.
Right, you understand? That's why I explained how it was great and why it's great by those waters. All that resources coming in is making the tree great. Keep going.
Verse 6. All the fowls of heaven made their nest in his brooks.
Now, what is all the fowls of heaven that made his nest in his bowls? And you know, if you answer this, you would need a precept. It says, and all the fowls of the heaven made their nest in his bowls. Now, I was just talking about birds. And if it's not talking about birds, then what it's talking about? That's a question. Nobody want to take a shot?
Lawyers, man.
Go ahead, y'all. Know you know. Go ahead.
I don't know the precept, but I know the files is talking about the other nations, right? The other East, like
It's talking about the other nations. It's okay. It's talking about the other nations. You right. Anybody got the? Give me Nobody ever heard that?
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Would it be Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 23?
No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Give me for time's sake, give me Revelations. Pull Revelations. It was 18th chapter. Start at verse 1. But you're right. The fowls of the earth, the fowls of the air. It's not talking about birds. So we be talking about nations. Understand? But we're gonna get a little bit more specific on it. That's like broad. We're gonna get a little bit more specific on it with Revelations 18th chapter. Read verse 1.
Like, I wonder if the last one we pulled, like at the beginning class, could go with that one too. That one we had put at the beginning about the other nations being as birds around the speckled bird. I was wondering if that'd be one.
Speckled bird.
Remember they said the other birds?
Yeah, other nations. Yeah, you could precept that together. You could precept that together. But when you get into Revelations, the 18th, you start to see more what it's talking about. Because when it talks about it in Revelation 8, well, we're going to get into it. Pull up Revelation 18.
Con, the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Keep going.
Verse 2. And he cried mighty with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen.
Right, Babylon the great is fallen, man. You understand? We know that Babylon now is America. America the great is fallen, man. You understand? If you ain't Hebrew Academy, you know this. You know what I mean? If you do Hebrew Academy, you'll know this. You understand? Keep going.
It's fallen and becoming habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Right, you understand? Meaning the hold of every foul spirit and unclean bird. You understand? What is that talking about? Go ahead.
It's talking like the heathen nation.
It'll get to that, but that's not exactly what it's talking about right here. Read that one more time.
Lawyers, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it referring to okay, not America, but the other Edomites around it, like the Uncle Toms and the people that, you know what I'm saying, or Israel that's siding with them?
It's more simpler than that. Think about it. It says it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Go ahead.
Is it like pretty much the land of confusion?
What's the unclean and hateful bird? What's them foul spirits called?
Salagia.
Go ahead.
Abominations.
No.
Lord.
You said something? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, Napash.
It's called vultures.
No. Go ahead.
Are you referring to demons?
Demons, man. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about demons. You understand? And this is how you paraphrase, because where does demons come from? This might be a tricky one for y'all. Where does demons come from?
Lord.
Go ahead.
Where did they come from? The devil?
No, the devil. Who's the devil?
Referring to Satan.
No, demons come from other nations.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. You said something. And then they gave it away. I don't know if you heard me.
Demons will come from people summoning them through their sin, their wicked spirit.
No, just to make it more simpler, demons come from other nations, man. What do I mean by that? What do I mean that demons come from other nations? Everything that we do, that you know what I mean, puts a demon on you, is because you following after another nation. You following after their customs. You know what I mean? You smoke weed. Smoking weed is not a black people thing. It's not a black, Hispanic, Native American
Hey,
people thing.
Elijah, sir.
Go ahead.
Kind of on top of that off topic. So would that be referring to like when the Lord, like when it goes into the Lord created evil? Like it's not necessarily saying that, you know what I'm saying, He created like the things that you do, the type of evil thing that you may do. That like when He say He created evil, like going to the other nations and the demons that come from them.
When he say he created evil, it's meaning that he created his angels to do certain things, like, for instance, kill. You know what I mean? He created angels to kill. Now, when they kill, it's righteous to kill because they have a reason to kill. They're not just doing it for no reason. That's what he means by he created evil. But he didn't create like a spirit of another nation wanting to be a homosexual. That's what man created. You know what I mean? He didn't create smoking weed. That's what man did. Man one day seen the plant, decided to roll it up, you know what I mean, and smoke it. That's not what he created. You understand? So that's why when we say that demons come from other nations, it's because they took on the spirit. You know what I mean? They took on the spirit to want to do things against the Lord. You know what I mean? Where it be smoking weed. That's a hippie thing, man. That's East Indian. That's not a black, Hispanic, and Native American thing. Being a homosexual, that's an Egyptian thing. You know what I mean? That's an African thing. That's not a black, Hispanic, and Native American to be a homosexual. When you be a homosexual, you taking on their customs. You taking on them demons that came from them. You know what I mean? Like anything, murdering your brothers. Like you got brothers and sisters out here in the world, black on black crime. That didn't come from black people. That came from the white man's spirit, who was the first murderer, Cain, who murdered his brother. That's that spirit that you taking on. You're not taking on a black, Hispanic, and Native American spirit. You're not taking on the black and the Native American, the black Native American and Hispanic. You're not taking on their culture. That's other people's culture to do stuff like that. So that's why them demons come from other people. You trying to follow after another culture, and therefore you done, you know what I mean, became a habitation to those demons. Because you don't want to follow your culture. You understand? So that's how you can tie those demons. This is talking about demons. That's how you can tie them fowls of earth being other nations, man. You understand? So when we go back to Ezekiel, the 31st chapter, give me back to Ezekiel 31st chapter and read, what was that, verse 6?
Call upon the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 6. All the fowls of heaven made their nest in his bowls.
You understand? Those are talking about the other nations. Those are talking about the demons, but those are talking about other nations, man. Other nations done took comfort in this great nation. You know what I mean? They made their nest there. It's just like how they do today, how everybody come, just like it say Babylon the Fallen, which is America, and became the habitation of all, you know what I mean, every foul spirit, of all the fowls, you know what I mean, of the air. That's all the nations coming into this nation to benefit off of it. You know what I mean? To be a part of it. You understand? Keep going.
And under his branches did all the beasts of the field.
Up, and there you go. Under his branches did all the beasts of the field, man. There you go. You hear it again. It's talking about the tree that's in the garden that's a people, and it's talking about the beasts of the field also being people, man. You understand? All the beasts of the field. Read that one more time, that one part.
And under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. And under his shadow dwelt all great nations.
There you go. Under his shadow, dwell all great nations, man. That's why you know it's not talking about people, because it even says dwell all the great nations, not all the great trees. You understand? Not all the great trees, but all the great nations, man. They took, you know what I mean? They took a covering of this nation. You know what I mean? They took a part of this nation. They wanted to be a part of. It's just like everybody coming into America and starting to be modernized. Like, you know what I mean? You got Chinese people who been with their culture all the time, but now you see Chinese people that be born in America, they be more Americanized. You know what I mean? People even say that word, oh, you're Americanized. You know what I mean? That's because they're the ones that's coming under the America shade and taking part of America, and now they you know what I mean? They putting on that American spirit. You understand? Keep going. Verse 7.
Verse 7. Thus was thus was he fair in his greatness.
Right. Thus was he. This tree is a he. Now, does trees have genders? We know the male tree. This is a female tree. Right. You understand? Is this he? Thus he was fair in his greatness. Keep going.
And the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters.
Right, keep going. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And the cedars and the garden of God could not hide him.
Right, the cedars in the garden of God. What's the garden of God?
Slakia, the earth.
What's the name that they give for it? What's the name that they give for it in Genesis?
Eden.
Eden, right. He said it's Eden. This is talking about the Garden of Eden. You understand? Thus was the cedars in the Garden of Eden. That's how you know that. So when you talk about this tree, we know this tree is now a nation. And now it's telling you where this nation was, which was in the Garden of Eden. Meaning those trees in the Garden of Eden was not actual trees. It was nations. You understand? Keep going in that.
Okay. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches.
Right. Now, even though it's given a different name for them other trees, it's not talking about actual trees. It's still talking about nations. You understand? It's just when you talk about a cedar tree, cedar trees are normally some of the biggest trees. That's why it gave this nation a resemblance as a cedar tree, because cedar trees are some of the biggest trees that grow. You know what I mean? A lot of them times when you see them big trees, it be cedar trees. You understand? Keep going.
And nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty.
Right, keep going.
Verse 9. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden.
Right, all the trees of Eden. There you go. If you didn't think that it was talking about Eden, there it goes right there. All the trees of Eden. Keep going.
That were in the garden of God, it invited him.
Envied.
Envy him.
Right, so now you tell me this. Does trees have emotions? Trees can envy? When you go outside and you see those trees in your backyard, they can envy one another. One tree growing and it don't grow quite as tall. You know what I mean? It don't grow quite as long. But it sees another one right across from it that grows that big. Give me 1 second. But it sees another one across from it. Is it envying that tree now? Is it like in its mind, damn, why couldn't I have a better seed to grow stronger and better than that tree? Somebody says Salakia?
Is it talking about how the other nations envy the power and prestige and the stature of the Assyrian nation?
That's exactly what it's talking about. It's talking about all those other nations, all the other trees, which are nations, envy this tree, which is a nation, because how great it was. Just like how everybody envies America, because how great America is in this kingdom. You understand? But it's showing you as them being trees, man. And so that's why when people think that that tree in the garden was an actual tree, you show them this verse and ask them. You show them specifically, like you don't even have to break it down from verse 3. You can specifically show them verse 9 and ask them, does trees envy? Can a tree envy another tree? The answer should be no. I mean, unless they stupid, the answer should be no. A tree is a tree. It can't envy. You know what I mean? And then once they say it can't envy, well, then we have a problem. And then somebody is wrong with their understanding in the tree in the garden. Because this one says the trees of Eden, which we know was a tree of the Garden of Eden. And it's saying that this tree right here envied. So now is God a liar, or do you just not know what the hell you're talking about? Well, we know God's not a liar. So we know the only logical option is you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You understand? What is that it on that?
Call talking verse 9.
Yeah, that's it on that. Yeah, give me back to Genesis. Give me back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter,
Call.
and read that verse that we just left off at.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1.
Oh no, not verse. It was it was verse 1. Yeah, read verse 1. Just read verse 1.
Now,
Just read verse 2. Go to verse 2.
Call. Verse 2. And the woman said unto the shepherd, serpent, we may eat out of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Right, keep going.
Verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat it, or neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Right, you understand? So now we got a conversation with Eve, the woman, talking to another nation, talking to the spirit of the white man. You understand? That's what she's talking to right now. It's just like in the day's time. And he's trying to beguile her, he's trying to trick her into eating of the tree. To eat the tree means to take his doctrine. It's not biting in no apple. We know that the trees is the other nations. So you're not eating when you eat of that tree, you're taking in their doctrines. You understand? That's like throughout the Bible, it'll show, it'll tell you, it's talking about like the living waters. You know what I mean? Like, what's the living waters? Is that talking about actual water? No, it's talking about the truth. You understand? And you drink the truth. You understand? It's not talking about you actually drinking water. It's talking about you taking in the truth. You're taking in the knowledge of the truth, the law, statutes, and commandments. So when you eat of other trees, you taking in their doctrines, whatever they teach you, whatever they say is right. You understand? That's what it means by eating it. But keep going. Verse 4.
Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
Right. So the serpent. So she said what Adam told her, was because the Lord didn't talk to Eve. The Lord talked to Adam, and Adam told her this. So when she said, the Lord said that ye shall not eat of it, nor neither should she touch it. She didn't have a conversation with the Lord. She was talking. This is what she learned from Adam. You understand? But she knew it. She knew that's what. So like that was the words that came from the Lord. You understand? But this serpent, the subtile beast of the field, being cunning, he's tricking her right now. He's trying to run game on her. Keep going.
Verse 5. For God don't know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Now, what does that sound like?
Just like today's time, they give you, they give you power over the man. It's like give you food stamps or child support just relying on it's just like relying on the other nation doctrines so it can help you grow. You taking in the other doctrines so it can help you grow. That's what I said, like eating other fruits.
Mm-hmm.
You eat, you get strong and you grow. So we start eating the other trees, other nations, you'll get strong and grow long as you rely on another nation's apples or food or living waters.
Right. I mean, you want to you know what I mean, you right there. You understand? That's basically what it's talking about. But what I mean by what is it talking about now, like, what does this sound like? You know what I mean? Today time.
Talaki.
Go ahead. But you right.
Sound like when a lot of people say the black woman is God.
Right. You understand? That's what it sound like. You know what I mean? You gave like a broad description. You gave not a broad. You gave a detailed description. But if you make it real simple, if you make it real short and simple, it's the black woman is God, man. You know what I mean? This is what this sound like. Go ahead.
It also sounds like a pimp move. You know how a pimp might get into a woman's mind and try to change her mind about things, about the way she see how life is going, to make her walk that track the midnight later. You know what I'm saying? Go out on that whole stroll. It's a pimp move. Down looking.
I mean but that's the black woman in God. You teach that she's so great. You know what I mean? She
Also calling her a queen too.
Yep, same thing.
That.
Right, same thing. Calling her queen. Oh, you a queen. Oh, the black woman is God. That is gaming her up, man. You know what I mean? Does the serpent really think this? Does the serpent really think? Is the serpent really trying to help her out? Is it really like you? Yeah, you need to be right where you. Go ahead.
Nah, because you'll be killing her at the same time.
Right, you understand? It's not trying to help her out. It's trying to beguile her, to trick her, to get her to not follow the Lord, to bring her lower than it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's no different than what they do to us today. They put, just like how the apostle was bringing out, they exalt the woman over the man. You know what I mean? They do everything to show the woman, okay, I'll give you, you know what I mean, food stamps, I give you health care, I give you this and that, I give you all types of things, but the only thing is you can't have a man in the house. You know what I mean? You got to be by yourself. Or, you know what I mean, giving a woman the best jobs. We'll put you over here. We'll put you as a supervisor over all these men so you can make more money than them and you can control them. You understand? You can be over them and make more money over them. And then you don't get a man job, because then what the woman think in her mind, well, since I make all the money, you supposed to do what I tell you to do. Or I run the house. Or, you know what I mean, I wear the pants in the family, being a woman. You understand? That's that whole system that's built off of this. You know what I mean? You should be as God. No, you shouldn't be as God. You should be serving Adam. You know what I mean? But she was beguiled, just like you know what I mean, just like the woman in the world today. They be beguiled by it. They see that, oh, I'll be a man, I'm independent, me, myself, and I. Go ahead.
Hey, like Esau really, like this man really sat down and he really studied it about me, really did perspective on slavery. That's just like that's crazy.
Right,
like,
damn right. Yeah, I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. You got to understand the metaphors of the Bible, man. It's real simple when you think about it. You understand? Because it goes on today. It repeats itself. It's what they still put on us today, man. You know what I mean? And we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it even more. Read the next verse.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that was pleasant to the eyes.
Right. The woman seen that. She heard them doctrines. She said, oh, I could be a god. I'll be a god. She seen it was pleasant for the eyes. That's what women do. You know what I mean? Sisters in the world, they always look for something that looks good. You know what I mean? They don't take a second to think about it. You know what I mean? Or understand. Or, you know what I mean? Try to develop a plan. Most of the sisters, they just see something good and they go for it. They do it. You know what I mean? There is no thought behind it. You know what I mean? They walk in, they see some nice shoes that cost $300. You know what I mean? They go buy them, not worried about, you know what I mean, tomorrow they going to have, you know what I mean, some food to eat. You know what I mean? They figure, oh, I'm a woman, I'll find a way.
So like,
Go ahead.
General City, They naive. They naive.
Right, yeah, naive. You know what I'm saying? They naive, man. And that's funny, but you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That's how women look at things, man. You know what I mean? Sisters in the world, that's how they look at things. You know what I mean? They see something pleasant to the eyes, and they can't say no. That's why a lot of the times the men got to be the ones that say no for them. I don't want this. I want that. I want it. No, you know what I mean? We don't need that. We need to pay rent. We need to, you know what I mean? Now it could be obviously the other way around. You got definitely some women out there that, you know what I mean, real responsible when they handle their business. But a lot of the time, this is how women think in their mindset. That's why they get sugar daddies. You know what I mean? That's why they willing to do certain things just to get, you know what I mean, something pleasant for the eyes. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of women be beguiled by these you know what I mean, these chemic cats that's calling them gods, man. You know what I mean? Because they getting gamed up, man. You know what I mean? You a god, but then they gonna have sex with you and leave you. You know what I mean? And okay, you know what I mean? Like, you would think if you a god and they really believed it, then they would stay, you know what I mean, stay with you. But no, they have sex.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Salaki, sir. What you just said, I was just about to say that because if I know my wife is God, I would never leave her because that means she can turn water into wine. She can make that rock gold. Everything that I need, she can do that. So, but I know a woman can't do that. So I would never. It doesn't even make sense to say that a woman or a man is God, because that means you're putting yourself above the Creator, and the Creator is smarter than all of us. So to say that the black woman is God or the black man is God, if that was the case, we wouldn't even be in the situation we in now. You know, but thinking that the black woman is God or thinking that we are above God has us in this situation we're in now, oppressed by the pale face, fork-tongued devil, El Diablo himself. You know what I'm talking about? It is really crazy that people would think that.
Right, and you're right about that, but you know what I mean, the black man don't think woman is God. Even them chemic cats, they don't believe the woman is God. Go ahead.
It was so crazy about it because if I was sisters as smart as they, you know what I'm saying, as smart as they, Lord, as smart as they try to be, if they really were smart as they try to be, like, why the hell would somebody have to tell you a God in the first place? You'll be out this motherfucker. I mean, you'll be out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, when your bill need to be paid, you can just snap your fingers and they pay. You need some help, you snap your finger, you get help. You wouldn't need a sugar daddy. You wouldn't need nobody because you God, right? That shit is lying, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that's damn right. But like I said, man, them brothers that's saying that black woman is God, they don't believe that. I can tell you right now, they don't believe that. They just trying to find out. They just don't. What it really is they don't know how to talk to a woman. They ain't got no game. They don't know how to go out there and actually speak to a woman and get the woman to like them. So they do it the easy route. Oh, you God, I worship you. You know what I mean? Just so they can get the pants and then they leaving you. They don't believe that. You know what I mean? I'm telling you that it's just like this serpent. The serpent don't believe that she'll be as no God.
Sir.
You understand? Go ahead.
It's so heavy that you just said that right there. I'm talking about they done messed the game up for a real nigga like myself. You know what I'm saying? That love, you know, I love to go out there and spit game to a woman. I like to see a woman jaw drop when I come across there with them words. I like to see her face melt when she hear me say something like whatever it is that I say to her. You know what I'm talking about? I love that. But these rap bastards are making it hard for, you know what I'm saying, for a young man like myself to go out here, because now they telling the woman she God and all they right here, she expecting some type of treatment. Look hell, you know what I'm talking about? I ain't that guy. I'm from the South, and I know the order. You can't come in here and tell me you God. You gonna have to make it rain then. I need some rain right now. Make it rain. You can't do that. Please stop telling me. These folks are crazy with that craziness right there. That is absolutely retarded to think that you go or to believe or to even fall for that line. Because if you just that simple, right. You are that simple. You are nigh unto Eve, just like the general said last night. You are nigh unto Eve.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But damn right. It's just like you said, man, but you know what I mean? That's how the serpent, which was a person, beguiled Eve, man. You know what I mean? Put that in her, you God, you could be equal to the man, you could be greater than the man. You know what I mean? That's his aim to say.
It's like I don't know if you seen this on Facebook. That same guy who like who's the main person who was saying that the black woman is God. What's his name? Polite. He said the black woman is God. Then you turn around and see him with white women.
Well, white woman,
Yeah, he really
right,
like white women.
right. You know what I mean? That's why you know they don't believe in that, man. He say black woman is God, but he got white women with him. You know what I mean? That's how you know they don't believe that, man. They don't believe that black woman is God. You understand? But they saying that to beguile Eve, and Eve is, you know what I mean, gullible as hell.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she falls for it. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about sisters in the school. Obviously, I'm talking about sisters in the world, man. You know what I mean? They fall for the lies. They fall for everything that's being told, and you know what I mean? We in that situation. But it's the same right here from the beginning of what the serpent told you know what I mean, Eve, that she'll be as gods. Keep reading on that. Verse 6 still.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise.
Right, a tree to be desired to make one wise. That's the whole point. A woman to try to be smarter than the man, greater than the man. You understand? Them following the today's society and how the so-called oppressors set them up because they think that they're wiser, they smarter. You know what I mean? They don't need a man. You understand? Same concept. Keep going.
She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Right, you understand? Then they bring that on you. You understand? They learn all this from the so-called oppressor, and you know what they come home and do? They try to oppress you. They try to put you under their rule. You understand? They try to teach you that same ways. You don't understand. It goes so deep that when you in the truth, right? That's why you gotta be real strong in the truth, because you know what I mean, you subjecting yourself, say if you know what I mean, to give in, to make sure your children are happy, you celebrate a birthday. You celebrate you know what I mean, you don't realize that it's not you actually, you know what I mean, trying to make it's not you trying to cause peace. It's really her teaching you. She really teaching you now. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of it. For her to try to teach you rather than you teaching her. You understand? They're going to teach you wickedness, man. They're going to teach you, you know what I mean, that you should be subservient to them. It's never a light situation. It's never no light situation. Oh, yeah, okay, well, she's yelling to make her feel better. I'm going to just go ahead and submit. And you know what she just taught you? That you need to submit to make her happy. You know what I mean? It ain't.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh, now that's so A1 heavy right there. Like, because, like, I know I got a couple brothers I be talking to, you know what I'm saying? And we be having our little conversations and stuff like that, right? And, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got one brother being pressured by a girl to get married. You know, other brothers that done went through stuff, but even myself. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you saying about what they teaching us their ways, like, because you trying to impress them, now when you get in good, it's like, you know what I'm saying, you had like everything issue, but when you really, you know what I'm saying, when you really get down to it, you know what I'm saying, it really the man fault, because you ended up, you know what I'm saying, not only misleading her, you misled yourself by following her misleading, you know what I'm saying, doctrine or whatever she, you know what I'm saying, she got you, you know what I'm saying, got you doing. Slack.
And that's damn right. That's why you gotta love the Lord before you love anything. You gotta love the Lord more. You damn right about that, because ultimately it is Adam's fault for falling for that. You know what I mean? Because you're supposed to be over her. You're not supposed to be listening to her. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we know that black men love their woman. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where this notion comes from. I know where it comes from. But this notion from black men don't love their woman is a damn lie. You know what I mean? Black men love their woman. You understand? And the oppressor knows this. That's why his main thing is to get to your woman. Because she know that, like the oppressor know that instead of just going to you directly, just get his woman. And then have the woman over him and do what, you know what I mean, do what he got to do against him. Now, this is a tactic that the oppressor know. You know what I mean? To rile your woman up, to get your woman against you, to get your woman to be at battle with you, and it makes you weak, man. You understand? Because then you'll start to conforming and society to things to make her happy. You understand? That's like a tactic of war, man. Go ahead.
That's That's also another reason why a lot of black men sitting up in church on Sunday instead of outside with us.
You know what I'm saying? And that's damn right. You know what I mean? A lot of black men is effeminate because they want to please their woman. You know what I mean? What's the saying? A happy life is a happy wife, or a happy wife is a happy life. You know what I mean? What kind of nonsense is that, man? You can't be. First of all, you can't be happy if you suck a yes man to your wife. There's no way you can be happy. I'm Salaki. There's no way you can be happy. You know what I mean? You might put on a front, you might act like it, but there's no way you can be happy. You know what I'm saying? But that's that doctrine, man. Because if you're not following the Lord, if you're not being over her, then she teaching you they doctrine. She teaching you they knowledge. You know what I mean? You just don't understand it. You don't understand how deep it goes, but that's her taking it to Adam. You know what I mean? Now Adam is starting to be subservient to her. You understand? Go ahead.
It's like, how the white man did it, like, it reminds me how these women be talking to these homosexuals about these men.
Right.
I said, the white man, he's like a homosexual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sitting there talking about, you know what I'm saying, making her go against her man and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what homosexuals do. That's what that serpent was doing in the garden, man.
Right. Right. It is just, like he said, it's just like a homosexual, man. Because their whole purpose is to get you to be against your man. You know what I mean? They're not trying to teach you how to have a good relationship. They hate the man. You know what I mean? Homosexuals, when they talking to, like, all the sisters out there that got homosexuals as a friend, you know, they don't know that that's destroying them, man. You understand? Because that homosexual, he want to get with your man. You know what I mean? So he's not gonna give you advice to make it. He's gonna make you a damn bitch so he can have a shot at your man. You understand? Like, they don't give a damn about your relationship. They hate the fact to see your relationship. It limits his option. Homosexual to see a happy black man and woman together, it limits his resource. It limits the people that he can talk to. You understand? That's why the homosexuals hate black women. They hate them. Trust me, they hate them. You think that they love you, think that that's your girlfriend, and no, he hates you. Because you taking away his options. You know what I mean? But keep going on that. Where we at? Give me verse 7.
And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
All right, so now is this talking about them actually being naked and covering themselves in leaves like they paint in the pictures?
Like it, sir.
Go ahead.
It's saying that they're pretty much exposed. There's a precept, Hebrews 4 and 13.
Give me 4 and 13. Hebrews 4 and 13. Keep that and go to Hebrews 4 and 13. Now, when you say that they were exposed, what you mean by them being exposed?
As far as they weren't, with them being exposed was the Most High can see them. That's what I mean.
You said the Most High can see them now being. That's what you mean by them being exposed. So you saying that they was exposed to the Most High? Okay, give me Hebrews. What do you say? Hebrews what? 4 and 13.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him whom we have to do.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good precept for it. I wouldn't necessarily say it in the means of they was exposed to the Most High, though. You know what I mean? They was exposed to the world. That's right here when it's talking about in Genesis. I wouldn't necessarily say they was exposed to the Most High. You know what I mean? Because the Most High sees everything. You know what I mean? So you're not necessarily exposed to the Most High, but what you are is you're exposed to the world. You understand? Anybody want to take a shot at this?
Like, so what was the question again?
Genesis 3 and verse, what was that, 7? And the eyes of them both were open and they knew that they were naked. What does it mean by them saying, you know what I mean, they knew that they were naked? and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Anybody else?
Anybody else want to take a shot? Like the brothers last, but y'all won. He was on to it. Go ahead.
It's saying that they knew that they was they knew that they had fallen the wrong doctrine and they were trying to hide from the Most High or something.
Not quite. You on to it, but not quite. Think about it in today. Think about it in today's time.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Is it basically saying that how we do today, we take on the culture of the white man as far as what they like to do, we do, like eating the shrimp, crab, lobster, the pigs, and all that. We take on, when they're saying they cover themselves with the fig leaves, they took on the doctrine of others to, as a culture of their own, so to speak, instead of going with the culture that they already had.
Right. Right. You right there. But okay, like when you say they took on their culture, like we do, we take on their cultures, we eat whatever they eat, and all that stuff. Why do we do that? You right. That's it.
So,
Why do we do that? Go ahead.
So we do that to find acceptance with the people that we're trying to please. We're trying to, like Eve was trying to please the serpent in the garden. We're doing the very same thing. We're trying to please and appease the pale-faced sport-ton devil. We're trying to
Eve wasn't necessarily trying to. What Eve was doing, she wasn't necessarily trying to please the serpent. She wasn't trying to make the serpent feel good. You know what I mean? Like when we doing it today, we not really trying to make the white man feel good.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Basically, she just wanted to turn away from the Most High. She wanted to chase her own flesh. She wanted to do what she wanted to do. It was just something that was in her. That I think that's why they call her woman, because she was like the man of destruction. I think that's why she got woe in front of man.
Nah, not quite. Nah, but what it means by putting a fig leaf, what's a fig leaf? It comes from a fig tree, right? So y'all right, you know what I mean? It's putting on the spirit or putting on, you know what I mean, the cultures of other nations. But the reason why they do it is because they felt exposed, because it's just like today, when we in the truth, right? You know what I mean? We go out there in the world, we are exposed. Now, are we exposed to the Most High? No, the Most High is our covering. The Most High is what covers us. So we would not be exposed to the Lord, because the Lord is our cover. The Lord is protecting us. He's the one that we got, we got his leaves on. We got his cloak on. But when you start to go into the world, you start to be exposed to the world, though. Because then what they'll start to say to you in a cult, they'll start thinking all these negative things on you. It's just like this. You know what I mean? The serpent teaching her his culture because she has the Most High culture. You know what I mean? So when she started learning their culture, she not exposed. She didn't learn that she was exposed to the Most High. She learned that she was exposed to other nations. She's like, oh, damn. We doing this and y'all looking at me. It's just like how somebody will be like, oh, well, you looking at me like I'm black. Oh, I'm just a thug. You know what I mean? You start to see all the type of things that they think about black people. And you think in your mind, well, damn, I'm exposed. Well, I don't want them to think this about me. I don't want them to, you know what I mean? Even though you following the Lord, you know what I mean? So that's what you really should be worried about. But you worried about what they think. You worried about what they got to say about you. So then once you start to do that, give me 1 second. So once you start to do that, you start to take their fig leaves. You start to put on their culture. You know what I mean? You start to do what they think, what you try, and you don't do it for them. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to feel accepted. You know what I mean? To fit in. You know what I mean? So they don't look at you like, that's like an Uncle Tom. The Uncle Toms, they do what they do so they don't be looked at like a nigga. They want to be looked at like a human being, somebody regular. They don't want to be looked at like a nigga. You know what I mean? That's why they do it. It's not to please them. It's to make themselves feel better with themselves. And that's Adam and Eve. Once they started learning the cultures of other people, they started to be ashamed of their own culture. They started to look at their own culture and they was ashamed to be an Israelite. Well, they wasn't Israelite during the Adam's time, but I'm relating it to our time. It's like you come to the school and then people start to make fun of you, start to say you a Power Ranger, you dressing up in dresses and all types of nonsense that they try to put up against us. And you start to look at it and you get ashamed now. You like, damn, I don't want to be like, I don't want people to hate me. I want people to like me. So then you start to get ashamed of your culture. What do? You go put on their culture so you can fit in right with them. You know what I mean? The precept, give me Isaiah 30:1 while you're pulling that. Somebody say Salakia.
Yeah, but you broke it down to what I was trying to get. So, like,
Both sides of Christ. But yeah, that's what it means by, you know what I'm saying? They saw that they were naked. You know what I mean? They wasn't physically naked, man. They didn't have no clothes on and put over leaves on them, put a little big leaf on them and stuff like that. It's them realizing that they're ashamed of their culture now. You know what I mean? They're ashamed of following the Lord. You know what I mean? So now for them to feel protected, for them to feel safe, they need to follow these other nations. They need to do what other nations told them to do. They need to, you know what I mean, fit into their culture to feel accepted, to feel a part of, you know what I mean, to feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Give me that. You got Isaiah 30:1.
Come the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to rebellious children, said the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that covered with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Right, you understand? Woe unto the children that take counsel, but not of the Lord. You coming together, you trying to bring counsel. You know what I mean? You trying to change. It's just like that little summit they had with Killer Mike and them. You trying to do counsel, but you're not doing counsel of the Lord. You saying things like, we need to come up with a list that all the requirements that a candidate needs to meet before we vote for them. You know what I mean? Well, what about what the Lord wants? You know what I mean? You taking counsel, but not the counsel of the Lord. You're not keeping it in your mind of what the Lord wants or how the Lord will have things be. You understand? You trying to come together and see if y'all can figure out a better plan for yourself rather than just doing what the Lord said to do. You know what I mean? Keep reading from that point. Where it said take a cover and the cover not of me.
Okay, and they take a covering with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Right, you take a covering with a covering that's not of the Lord's spirit, man. That's Adam and Eve was covered by the Lord, but they realized, oh snap, and they started to be ashamed of their culture because they was learning from another, you know what I mean, another culture, another doctrine. So they started to be ashamed of their culture. So then they started to take that covering of another cover that's not of the Lord. You know what I mean? That's a brother realizing the truth, but he started to get shunned. You know what I mean? He started to get hate. And so he feels ashamed of being an Israelite. So you know what? He leaves. And he goes back to the world and take on the covering of America. That's a brother being in America, and you join the American military. You know what I mean? You fight for the so-called oppressors. You know what I mean? You taking a covering, but not the covering of the Lord, man. You understand? You trying to fit in with all the other nations so they accept you. But once you do that, you separate from your culture. You separate from your people. You no longer can understand or relate to your people. You know what I mean? Like ASAP Rocky said, you live in Beverly Hills, so you can't relate to the average black person no more. You don't take a covering, but a cover that's not of the Lord, man, of another nation who don't give a damn about you. Keep going.
That may add sin to sin.
Right, and you add a sin to sin when you take a covering of a covering that's not of your nation. When you're taking counsel but not of the Lord, you adding sin to sin, man. You understand? Because first of all, you're going against the Lord. Second of all, not only are you going against the Lord, you added more sin by trying to, you know what I mean, fit in with another nation and think another nation is going to protect you. You understand? You doubling your sin by doing that, man. Keep going.
Verse 2.
Oh, that's verse 2. Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah, no, actually, give me verse 2. Let's see what it says.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not act at my mouth.
Right, and this is to go to show you what it's talking about. Because we came out of Egypt, and we came out of Egypt during Exodus. Moses split the Red Sea, brought us out of Egypt, running from you know what I mean, their captivity, escaping from their captivity. And you had people that once they got out in the wilderness, they wanted to go. It's like it. Instead of serving the Lord who just did that, they wanted to go back to Egypt, man. You understand? They wanted to go back to Egypt. You know what I mean? You got out in the wilderness, you started to be ashamed to be an Israelite. You said, I'd rather be an Egyptian. Even though I was doing all that work, you know what I mean? At least I had this. You know what I mean? You started to go back. You wanted to go back to Egypt, man. Keep going. Let it on that.
Uh,
Verse 2.
to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Right. To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt, man. That's what Adam and Eve did here when they took them fig leaves. They wanted to trust in those other nations. They wanted to trust in what that serpent told them. You understand? They wanted to put a shadow, a covering of that other nation on them because they felt ashamed of their own culture. You understand? They felt ashamed that they was so I wouldn't say Israelites, but they felt ashamed that the Lord chose them and they were serving the Lord. They felt ashamed of it, man. They wasn't hiding from the Lord. You know what I mean? You can't hide from the Lord. You know what I mean? They was trying to fit in with other nations, man. They was trying to be with those other nations.
Like, so basically you saying they're trying to be Sellites.
Yeah, they was being sell. That's exactly what it is. They was being Sellites while doing that, man. You understand? Why would you be ashamed of your culture? Why would you be ashamed of who you are? Why would you be ashamed of being... The Lord said be holy, be separate. Why would you be ashamed because you're supposed to be separate? You know what I mean? You thinking in your mind, well, I can't really be separate because then I just got nothing but my own people. Let me go ahead and fit in and integrate so now I can have all the other nations. You know what I mean? It make no damn sense, man. You understand? But that's them putting on those fig leaves, man. They getting the doctrines from these trees and they putting on that spirit, putting on their culture to make themselves feel more protected. You understand? Give me back to Genesis.
Verse 8.
Give me verse 8.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden.
Right, you understand? Keep going.
Verse 9. And the Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou?
Right, keep going.
Verse 10. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself.
Right, you understand? Keep going.
Verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked?
Right, meaning the Lord said, you know what I mean, he told the Lord that he was naked. You understand? Meaning that he was pretty much he said he told the Lord that he was ashamed by the things that he was doing. You understand? The Lord told you. Who told you that? You know what I mean? How you got into your mind to be ashamed? How you got into your mind that, you know what I mean, that you exposed to other people, that, you know what I mean, everybody looking at you, know what I mean, how you thinking you in your mind, like, oh, because they looking at you a certain type of way, or because they seeing that you different from them, that you exposed. You know what I mean? You taking a shame in it. You know what I mean, you feel some type of way as where it's making you uneasy. You're not comfortable. You know what I mean? Who, like, for instance, if you in today, who told you that, you know what I mean, being an Israelite is a part of a cult, you know what I mean, or a part of a cult, or a part of this. You know what I mean? You following the law, statutes, and commandments, and something wrong with you. Who's telling you that? You know what I mean? Obviously it's the other nations, but for you to believe that, you got to be learning from them. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe that. Otherwise, you would know that actually I'm not. I'm actually covered, and y'all naked. You know what I mean? Because the Lord is covering me. I got the only one and true covering, which is the Lord. You understand? Keep going. It's in 11.
Verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree? Therefore I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat. Verse 12.
Yeah, keep going.
Verse 12. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me the tree, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Right. What's the problem with that? He should take responsibility for what he did, man. You don't blame something else. Go ahead.
He shouldn't have thrown Eve up under the bus.
Right. You don't blame somebody else for your shortcomings. I mean, if you do something wrong, that's on yourself. That ain't on them. It ain't, oh, she made me, or, you know what I mean? You in your crib with your woman, and she arguing at you, and then you get so mad to where you blow up, and now you know what I mean? You doing who knows what, and you say, oh, well, it's her fault if she. No, it's your fault. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe she did do that, but you supposed to be smarter. You supposed to be the stronger vessel. You supposed to be the head. You supposed to be, you know what I mean, more knowledgeable to know that that's not what you're supposed to do. You understand? In other words, don't let people get you out of your character. You know what I mean? You always want to be what you know what you're supposed to be, which is a servant of the Lord. You don't never want to let somebody get you out of your character. You understand? Keep going.
Yeah, verse 13.
I wonder, cause I seen this like earlier in the class. I wonder if we could use this. I wonder if it could be a precept to what Adam and did in the book of Job.
Okay.
The book of Job, chapter 31, verse 32. The stranger did not lodge in the street, but I opened my doors to the traveler. If I cover my transgression as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom. I see that, but I don't go there.
Right. Read it from the top again.
Come. Verse 32. The stranger did not lodge in the street, but I opened my doors to the traveler. If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom.
Yeah, I'll probably have to look up more on that too, because you probably want to go maybe a couple of verses up above it. You know what I mean, to see the context with it. Because when you was talking about the hiding my iniquity in my bosom, that could be talking about, you know what I mean, hiding it within Eve.
Yeah.
Because you know how the bosom, you know what I mean, where it say you shouldn't keep the mouth of your bosom far away. So it could be talking about Eve, but I had to double check on that one. But that's a good precept. I'm gonna keep that one. What you said that was Job?
31. I'll ask you as a precept. You know what I'm saying? I had seen it.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely look that one up. That's a good precept in Job 31. Get me back to. Somebody said Salaki. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kevin. I want to ask you, was Micah 1:13 that beast in there? Where that's talking about a nation as well?
You said Micah 1:13.
Count on the one time.
Read that for me.
It's pouring down right now. I'm driving, sir.
All right, yeah.
Sir?
Oh, you can read it. You can read it in the posh. Micah 1:13.
He come on the book of Micah, chapter 1, verse 13. O thou inhabitant of Lanesh, bind the chariot to the swift beast, and she is the beginning of the sin to the daughter of Zion. For the transgressions of Israel were found in thee.
I'll probably have to look up that one more. I'm gonna write that one down too, and I'm gonna look that up. You know what I mean? It sounds like it could be, but then again, you know what I mean? I just had to look that up and make sure I double check before I go ahead and teach that in class. All right?
Sir.
All right. We got 10 more minutes left. I guess we can go ahead and end it right. Anybody got any questions? Any other questions before we end class? Either on today's topic or in general.
It's Law here, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a question at the the moment, but if I could, I want to make a comment.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say to water, you know what I'm saying? Most I cry for the every class, man. Like, you broke that lingo down real fine, sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like us niggas today, even me, you know what I'm saying? In my simplicity at times, you know what I'm saying? Think like we just started creating lingo around this time, not knowing that we had a way with words back then in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, broke that lingo down heavy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that nigga. You know what I'm saying? The lead, like I fully understand that. You know what I'm saying? Most High Christ the water, sir.
Right, you know what I mean? And Most High in Christ, right. That ain't me. That's the Most High in Christ. And even with the naked, you know what I mean? You can even go to today's time where, you know what I mean? I don't know if they still say it, but it was a time where somebody will rob somebody and they'll be like, yeah, I caught them naked. Now, did they catch them with no clothes on? No, they caught them exposed. Meaning, you know what I mean? They probably didn't have they protection on them. You know what I mean? That's out in the open. They caught them at the wrong time. It's just like catching somebody asleep. I caught him naked. Yeah, you know what I mean? I robbed him naked. You know what I mean? It don't mean he took his clothes off of him. It just mean that he caught him in an unsuspected time. You know what I mean? Or it being exposed. You understand? But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. See, I knew it in that preference, you know what I'm saying? But using it with Adam and Eve, I just couldn't quite grasp it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like the way you gave tonight, that really helped me out. The water.
Hey, Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Anybody else got you know what I mean, any questions or comments? You know what I mean? Because one thing is the Bible is written in Ebonics, or whatever you want to call it, Ebonics, slang, you know, nigga code. You know what I mean? It's written to where only black, you know what I mean, black, Hispanic, and Native Americans can understand the metaphors that's written in the Bible. Nobody else will be able to understand the metaphors. That's how the Bible is written. You understand? It's by our people, man. You understand? So that's why when the so-called oppressor get a hold of this Bible, he puts out there that it's a talking snake. You know what I mean? He puts out there that God and Christ is one. You know, Virgin Mary. He puts those things out there because they don't understand the Bible. So when you hear any type of black person who's teaching that or who believes in that, they didn't come up with that. They just accepting what was taught to them, and it's hard for them to shake it off. You understand? That's what's going on. You understand? Anybody got any questions or comments? All right, no sweat. With that, we're going to end the class. Shalom, Yabashir Kathah, to the brothers. Oh, wait, no. With that, I'm going to pass the class off to Napash Kaya. Read the security announcements.
The Isupk security announcements. We are the Isupk, started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months.